All right. So we're going to try things a little bit differently this episode. This is a solo episode. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely stay tuned. No special guest this time. The only special guest I have is a handy dandy brand new notebook, which I don't know about anybody else, but it always makes me feel more inspired when you take that plastic wrap off of a new notebook. ASMR plastic. Okay, so we take the plastic wrap off. It still has the little sleeve cover. And then it's like, in case lost, who does this belong to? I just love that feeling of a fresh notebook. It makes me feel very inspired. Anything is possible with a new notebook. I am using a rundown pen. They're my favorite, but I had to run around the house to hunt it down because I'm not the only left-handed person in the house. So I really like those thin pens that don't smear. I don't really know how to say that word. Anyways, this is not an advertisement for pens or notebooks. It's just something on my mind. Another thing on my mind is I'm going to mid-season, how fancy schmancy of me. I am going to try to restructure the podcasts a little bit. And the reason I'm going to do that is one, I have felt slightly uninspired, which is not crazy for me. I'm definitely the type of person that likes to throw a bunch of things at the wall and see what sticks, a bunch of things that I'm interested in. And this podcast is something I'm very interested in, but I found myself kind of dreading recording certain episodes just because it's overwhelming to come up with a list of questions and to talk about things, especially things that I'm not as truly passionate about. And it's hard to find guests that can fit into my schedule because I do work full time. I also work on social media. I also am newly married and I am a mother. And those things are obviously going to take precedence over a podcast. So I think that finding ways that I can have this podcast and really talk about the things that I'm interested in talking about more freely is going to help me stay more regimented on my podcasting schedule. And I know this is like behind the scenes and like who cares, but it is something that has been weighing on me. It's not being able to publish the podcast on the time that I said that I wanted to. And it's just simply because, my husband may be working out of town and we were, on paper supposed to record an episode together, but that's hard to do when our only full day together with our daughter is going to be Saturday. And then on Sunday or Monday, they have to leave and go out of town. It's just, we're not going to spend an hour of our day, really closer to 3 hours after you edit everything, doing this when we only get one day uninterrupted together, if that makes sense. So, with all of that being said, I am working on a new podcast style. Um, and that podcast style is going to be I have a list of questions that I'm going to talk about and answer at the beginning of each episode, just kind of check-ins with me. So, what is new in my life? What am I really excited about? What am I worried about? What things are inspiring me right now, whether it's in fashion or home decor or like what keywords or things are really like grabbing my attention. What's in my browser or my shopping cart, which I think is really a fun one. And then next is what's on today's episode. So typically I do cover what's going to be on the next episode before. So at the end of the previous episode, I'll give a little snippet about what the next episode is going to be about. I'm going to try to continue doing that. But then again, if I had a certain person that I was going to talk to and we weren't able to record a week or so in advance, it does make it a little bit tricky if they're slightly out of order. So I may not be doing that at the end of the episodes anymore. All of that to say, today's episode is going to be about what we mentioned in our previous episode, which was a little over a week ago, and it's going to be about holiday parties. Another reason I wanted to wait is because my first holiday party that I hosted this year was last Thursday, and the episodes usually air on Wednesday mornings, which we may be adjusting a little bit. But I wanted to have the party first so I could tell you things that I did and liked and things that I did and didn't like or wish that I did, and just kind of give you the full picture, the full idea, So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into my episode and my check-ins. So let's get started with my check-ins. So what's new in our life? A lot of you know that our new chickens are around. So that's a big new thing in our house because they are indoor chickens currently. If you are on my TikTok, you know that I had a little bit of an episode with them the other day. They were in the cage outside getting a little bit of outdoor time when it's warmer in the middle of the day. And they just decided that they didn't want to go back inside with me. And they took off in all different directions. There is 8 of them and 1 of me, obviously. And I am scrambling because the hawks in our neighborhood are no joke. They are, I mean, they say eyes like a hawk for a reason. They have been clocking these chickens. Every time we walk around with them, they're like, we know what we're having for dinner if you ever slip up and leave these chickens outside. So those getting used to the chickens is new. We do have one of our chickens that is still having a hard time. I've posted about it on our Southern Mama Farm TikTok. Phoebe Philo is still just struggling. And I don't know if it's because of her namesake, because apparently Phoebe Philo's new collection was kind of lackluster as well. I don't know if that's kind of making our chicken suffer, but let's hope not. Other things that are new is I am taking a new class right now that's super exciting, and it's so fun for me. It's been a while. There's been a couple of things that I have tried to get back into. A lot of you know that I was a competitive dancer for years, and tap was something that I really loved. And I did take a tap class over the summer, and I really enjoyed it. But this past week, I had to miss the class that I'm in currently. And I was so devastated and disappointed that I was going to have to miss this class. I'm a morning person, not a night person. This class is from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So it should not be my cup of tea at all. I should be dreading it. And it is difficult for me the next day to like wake up and be a productive human. However, the amount of heartbreak that I felt by missing this class just proved to me how special it is, how precious that time is, how much I'm able to like get out my creative energy and how much I kind of crave that creative energy. That outlet. I just really look forward to it, and being around other people, other adults is something that I don't have the pleasure of experiencing in my day-to-day life. I work from home and I'm usually in a studio or an office by myself all day. My daughter's at school, my husband's at work, and I'm at home. So the interaction that I get with adults is when I wave to somebody at the grocery store, or if I actively make plans to spend time with people. And I don't think that it would be worth me trading the freedom that I have to, if I have a break from work, if I have 30 minutes in between calls, I can go for a walk around my neighborhood, or I can get a load of laundry done, or I could run to the grocery store. That amount of freedom is so valuable to me that I don't think that I would trade that for the day-to-day interaction, especially with people that I'm not selecting to spend time with, like going into an office and just you're around who you're around. You don't really have a choice. But there's a lot of buzz, like a buzzword is that third place, and having an additional place outside of your home, especially if your home is also your work, having that place that you could go and spend time and enjoy, I do think is crucial. And this is the first time in a while that I've had a third place. Because yeah, the last time that I had a third place was our boxing gym, which is where me and my husband met. And obviously that was a huge and pivotal place for us. I have a ton of friends that are some of my closest friends in my life that I met at that third place. And the third place is the first being your home, the second being your work. And then you need that third place, a place that is not your home, but it's not somewhere you have to be. It's a choice. So some people join a bowling league, some people join a softball team, some people take a tap class. I took boxing classes, which was my third place that I really enjoyed. It's like an outlet place. And right now, this class is that third place for me. And I really enjoy the other people that are in the space for that class. They're, I wouldn't even say very like-minded. We just have this creative spark that we want to get out. It's like a communications class, improv. It's so fun. And it has just really been a mood changer for me. I, have had a little bit of the blues with the time change and it being dark. And, I like to go on walks in the afternoon and it's like pitch black at like 5:30. So that is always, a challenging time for everybody. But I feel like now when I have that one day that I have to look forward to go to this place and be around other people outside of just my immediate family, it's nice. And my husband has that place too. He's taking music lessons and he goes to the gym and, he has that third place. And my daughter, does her activities as well. So it's nice to have that third place. So if you feel like you're in a funk, I mentioned this in an episode last season, I highly recommend taking that plunge and taking a class or trying something new. It really helps pull you out of that. So that's something that is new and that I'm really excited about right now. I'm excited each week to learn something new and it's brand new to me. I have never experienced this type of performance or creative, expression before, and I really, really enjoy it. Something I'm worried about. There's a lot of things that I'm worried about. I feel like I always worry about my daughter. It's just something that I always worry about. We are on the precipice of the teenage years. And so that's something that is just kind of looming over me. I don't want that stereotypical mother and daughter bickering teenage years, but sometimes I feel like I may lean towards overcorrecting that by being like, okay, well, if I get certain standards and stuff in place now before we get to those teenage years, which really face it, like we're in them right now. But I'm like, if I get certain standards and rules and guidelines in place now, then it won't be like I'm reinventing the wheel as, she's hitting these teenage years. And sometimes it just creates this friction. And I just worry about that. I want us to have the best relationship. We've always had such a close relationship. And I knew that by getting married and we've always lived just the two of us and moving in with my now husband. And I knew all of those changes were going to create a different dynamic to our relationship. And that's just always something that I'm thinking about, always something that I'm worried about. And it's something that I talked to her about and I talked to my husband about, just wanting to make sure that our relationship and the strength of our relationship is always a priority, but it is something that I worry about. She's getting older. She's wanting more independence. She's wanting to, go and see and try. And I don't want to hold her back from doing all of those things. But I also feel as a parent, it's your responsibility to not just be a friend and to be their guiding light and to put them in situations that are going to make them better people overall, whether or not that's something that they want to do immediately that second or not. So it's just like a fine line of being a parent, but also having a strong relationship with your child. And I do think that by creating structure and having boundaries and rules, it will create a stronger relationship down the road. But again, every child's different. Every parenting relationship is different. And going into this new season of her life is going to be different for all of us as well. So that is something that I do worry about some, among other things. But yeah, something I worry about. I also worry about the financial state of the world, where that's going. I don't like to get too political on any of my channels, but just that unsettled feeling. You're hearing the word layoff a lot, which is unsettling and scary. You're hearing about prices going up, inflation. You're hearing about cost of living increasing. And those are all just things that are uncomfortable, and uncertainty is always going to be uncomfortable. So those things are just a worry. on top of the day-to-day worries, when you have stuff like that piling on top of you too, it just, changes your mood. So just a little check-in. Some things that are inspiring me right now. I'm really on a kick of we have decided to be in the house that we're in right now for the foreseeable future. We love the house that we're in right now, but I know when we first moved in, we weren't 100% sure if this was going to be more of a long-term thing. Like I would consider short-term, like a year or two. So if it was going to be short-term, if it was going to be more long-term, like, 5 to 7 years, or, we just weren't 100% sure about this property. And we've come to the conclusion that it is going to be more of a long-term thing for us, which is exciting. So now I feel like I can put a little bit more creative freedom. A lot of the walls are painted white, as you can see behind me. I can put a little bit more creative freedom into the house, make that a passion project, and kind of work room to room. And that's been something that's inspiring me, just kind of leaning more into that creative space of designing rooms of our house. I have a very unique, eclectic, and artistic style. Not so unique that you can't find what I'm looking for on Pinterest boards and stuff. You definitely can. But I definitely don't want all the beige couch with the beige chair and the white walls and everything is perfect. I want our house to be very colorful and vibrant and lived in. And that's just kind of how we are. And that's what I want our house to feel like. I want it to be a very warm place. And so, yeah, I'm just working on that, figuring out those details and how to make that a reality. And that's inspiring to me. I really like it. So things that are in my browser would be Canva. I'm using Canva to kind of design the rooms. I'm just like using like their photo collages, which are free, which I think is really cool, to just create collages of different pieces that I already have for certain rooms, just to make sure that they kind of go together before purchasing anything. I'm using a lot of Facebook Marketplace to kind of pin things and find things at hopefully a better price point, even though they are getting kind of expensive on Facebook Marketplace. Other things that are in my browser, I need like a down jacket. We've gone to the mountains a couple times. I know we're planning on going one more time before the end of the year. And I had this really nice macage jacket that I got when I was working in retail at a phenomenal discount. And it was a size medium. And it's one of the ones that goes to your knees, like a parka, which is the move. If you're gonna I have like one of the cropped ones that just stops at your pants, which is cute. It gives you the hourglass shape. If you're going for functionality, you need a full parka that's gonna go mid-thigh or to your knee. That's gonna cover your booty, because when you're really cold and your thighs and your butt is cold and you sit down somewhere and it's freaking cold, you're gonna be uncomfortable. And when I bought the jacket, it was a perfect fit. I'm usually never a medium. I went with the medium because, again, I got it at a phenomenal discount and a large was not available. It wasn't enough of a discount for me to go down a size, because you always have to remember when you're getting winter wear that you're going to have winter clothes underneath. I'm going to have thicker pants. I'm probably going to have on like long johns and then jeans. And then, so what might have been the perfect fit with just a single pair of jeans on, when you're actually in the situation where you need to wear that parka, it's too snug, because it does zip up over your hips, over your thighs, which for me is the curviest, most voluptuous parts of me. So yeah, sizing wasn't correct. I am selling that at a consignment shop, and I'm on the hunt for a new parka coat, which is not the most cost friendly. I do think that it can be very effective, especially if we're spending more time in the mountains, which we're definitely wanting to do. But that's something that's in my cart on eBay, on the Real. I haven't looked at them new. I'm looking for used, just because I feel like you get so much more bang for your buck. But I'm really trying to find the best material, because I really want to be warm, but I also want it to be waterproof. I want it to not break down after a couple years. And it's just, there's a lot of question marks and they're not cheap. So I'm hoping that I can sell a couple of items at the consignment store and then collect that money back. And then from the winter items that I sold at that consignment store, I can use that towards my parka. Hopefully I can give it to myself as a birthday gift, which will be in early January. So coming up soon, less than a month, I'll be a birthday girl, Capricorn Queen. So that's what's in my browser or in my shopping cart right now. So a couple Facebook Market things, definitely a parka. That's kind of what we're shopping for at the moment. Christmas is over. Christmas stuff has been shopped for. Happy that we moved past that. I really was leaning towards not doing Christmas gifts this year, which we're not doing. And I can talk about that a little bit as well. So other things that are in my browser that I'm searching are family trips. I have just, ever since our Europe trip, I have had this burning desire to take our daughter on a more extensive trip. We did New York when we got engaged last year, and she did so phenomenal. She did amazing on the plane. She did amazing at the airport. She packed her bag perfectly. I mean, she really, really enjoyed it. So there's just so many things that are buzzing around in my head because I want to be able to experience these things with her while she's this age and like get that travel bug in her now so that it's something that she really appreciates and wants to save for. Before she's 30, before she hits our age, I want that to be something that she's interested in. I want her to see the world. And I would love for her to be able to experience that with us since we have not been a lot of places. It would be a nice thing for us to do as a family together. I know a lot of families that travel together, and it's just this very unique experience that you can have with your children. That to me is more than a physical gift. We can give her so many physical gifts that are going to come in and out of style, that are going to be used and then discarded. It could be her most prized possession for a certain amount of time, but those memories that we have going to a specific place together, I think kind of trump all of that. And that's just where my heart has been pulling me lately. I would love to go to New York for the summer or spend 2 weeks in New York with her, and just try a bunch of things and do a bunch of things. But I would also really like to take her to London. I would love for us to go somewhere completely brand new together. I would love for us to go to Ireland together. We're working on getting her passport, which I'm so excited about because that would just make these possibilities seem so much more like a reality if she had her passport and we're like, even if we were going somewhere like Toronto, which is still a big trip, but it's nowhere near as extensive as, going to London. I mean, for us, Toronto is like an hour away. It's pretty much like going to New York. But yeah, that's just something that's just been like on my brain so much lately. And that's definitely in my browser, is like looking up trips that you can take your children on and ways that you can travel with them. And I saw her confidence bloom in a way when we were traveling in New York. She just really took initiative to kind of learn the ways of the new city so quickly. And she acclimated faster than anybody else in our group did. And children do. I mean, they just acclimate so quickly. And it was such an amazing thing to see. So I would love for her to go somewhere that is more of a culture shock. I think that would just be so incredible to witness her do. So that's been something that's on my browser. So with all of that being said, now that we've gone through our check-ins, let's talk about what's on today's episode. So if you'll remember, a week or so back, we did an episode with Stuart about our surprise wedding. And our next episode is going to be about holidays, holiday parties, holiday planning, all things surrounding the holidays, things that I love doing, things that I regret doing, and specifically hosting holiday events. So first, I wanted to say that I grew up with great grandparents and a great grandmother and a grandmother who loved hosting. And grew up in the 90s. The way that they loved hosting was by supplying the food and the experience for everybody, but everything didn't have to be perfect. They would time the food very well and everything would be delicious. They would spend, a week preparing these meals. but it was a little bit more chaotic of a holiday season from Thanksgiving through to New Year's. The only thing consistent was the fact that you could always count on having an event. And I love that. I want to get back to that instead of having these perfectly curated, Instagrammable parties. I wanted to have more of that feeling where you feel very cozy and relaxed. You don't have to be wearing the best outfit, because I do think we kind of leaned more towards that in our party last year, which was fun. We got to dress up and have a great time. And it was the first time that my entire family and Stuart's entire family was together. And that was important to us and to me. We weren't even engaged yet, but it was really important to me for our families to meet and to know each other. And that was the purpose of that party. And I feel like I stuck to that purpose by like seating people, his family, my family, his family, my family, just kind of going about it with the sole purpose being to introduce the two families. Which I guess is the number one thing, right? Is to have a purpose for a gathering and stick to that purpose no matter what. Don't start branching out and being like, oh, but I also want it to be perfectly aesthetically pleasing. No, the purpose is to combine the two families. And what does that look like? So we played games. We had a baby shower combined in for his sister, so that everybody could get to know her and, the new baby that we were entering into the world, who we love so much. And just, really just getting to know each other, having opportunities for people to talk and conversate and enjoy a lovely meal together. Like that was all very important to us. This year, my purpose for holiday gatherings is to invoke that comfortable, cozy holiday feeling. That is my sole purpose, is to have that ease, that nostalgia of you are in a loved, safe place with people that truly care about you. That is my number one purpose of hosting parties this year. And it may be my number one purpose for hosting parties in the future. I want my guests to feel spoiled in a way that's like everything here was made with love so that you could kick back, relax, and just truly enjoy and soak it all in. And part of me started to worry that I would not be able to relax over the holiday season because I was so focused on everybody else being able to have that leisurely, relaxing time. But I hosted my first party last week, and that was not the case. So the prep work was, I determined a menu. I'm going to have the same menu for both of the parties that I'm hosting this year. They are going to be a little bit simpler. So we're doing like chips, we're doing some dips. I'm going to have 3 different types of sliders. So we did chicken salad sliders. We did the brie, turkey, pepper jelly, and apple sliders. And I did the infamous Hawaiian roll ham and cheese sliders with like the buttery mustard sauce. So I was like, okay, we'll do 3 sandwiches. We'll have a bunch of chips. We'll have a little charcuterie board. And then I made this homemade hot chocolate, which was a little bit more of a spur of the moment for this past party, but it was a hit. It was like a Parisian style hot chocolate that I just made in the crock pot. It was delicious. I was like, I want to have a roaring fire going in the living room, which we did not do for our party last year, which I'm definitely doing this year. It's like, I want a nice big fire. And I want crafts. I wanted to have a crafty Christmas. So for my party that I had with my girls, which was a cookie exchange, I did ornaments. I had like wrapped my coffee table in wrapping paper so it wouldn't get messed up. And then I just got some strips of acrylic paint and I got these little ornaments, and everybody just sat around in front of the fireplace, sat on the floor and just grabbed blankets and sat on the floor, eating their cookies, drinking their hot chocolate, and painting these ornaments, which was so fun. And you're just able to sit and relax and do something with your hands where you don't feel like you have to be so like perfect and stuck up and stuff. It wasn't like that at all. It was very relaxing, very fun. I really, really enjoyed it. And I think everyone enjoyed it. And you have a little something that you can take home with you, which is kind of like, that's my gift. My gift was giving everyone a place to get together, relax, enjoy themselves, make something fun, have a little ornament for your tree. And that was kind of my gift to everyone. And I feel like it was a huge success. We were able to talk, tell stories, sit by the fire, laugh, scary stories, funny stories, whatever, hear about our friends that are bringing babies into the world and, things that they're nervous about, things that they're excited about. It was just such a fun place it was like a grown-up sleepover without having to sleep over. We did offer alcoholic beverages. I don't think that a lot of people were drinking, which was totally fine with me because I personally don't really drink. Sometimes I'll have a glass of wine here and there, but we didn't need alcohol to have fun, which to me is a telltale sign that you were hosting a good party. So hopefully for my family's get together, it'll be very similar. We have a little bit more crafts to do at my family's get together because we'll be together for longer. We have like a movie that we're going to play, and there's a little bit more of a crucial nostalgic element in that I have family members that are not doing so well health-wise, and I just want to make the holidays as special for them as possible. So yeah, that is what I was focusing on this holiday season. And it wasn't as stressful as I thought. I've probably mentioned this before, but when I'm about to host a party, I will add some of the dry goods and the things that will last in the fridge longer to my grocery list, like 4 weeks in advance. I go to the grocery store like every Sunday or sometimes every Saturday morning. And so I would just grab a couple things like, okay, this week I'm going to grab crackers with my regular groceries, or this week I'm going to go ahead and grab the canned sodas with my regular groceries, or cookie ingredients, just things so that everything didn't add up all at once. It was kind of sprinkled throughout about a month of groceries, which made things a lot easier because I already had all of the materials in the house ready to go, which is very, very helpful. And it doesn't feel like it hits your wallet as hard. If you're diligent about budgeting and having a specific budget for a get together, that might not be the best way because it's a little bit more tedious to track the purchases sprinkled throughout. But for me, who gets paid biweekly, it was nice to know, okay, every time I go to the grocery store, I'll add an extra $25 to $30 to whatever my grocery list is. And then the week of, I just had to go and get pretty much another like $40 worth of ingredients that would have gone bad. I think I got the ham and the turkey and cheese and stuff. That's really the only thing that I had to purchase the week of, which was really nice. So that was very helpful as well. And then just having things that people can look forward to. So I saw a TikTok where someone was talking about the arch of a party and how to kind of create that great arch for a party. And depending on your age, that arch is going to be completely different. So some people, it's like, the purpose of my party is to be a pregame. And then the highlight of the night is when you're getting in the Uber and you're going out to the bars. That is going to be the thing that you do for the night. For the arch of my party, I knew that I wanted it to be the crafts. So it was like, okay, we're going to be eating snacks and drinking hot chocolate. And then the party is going to kind of peak when everyone gets to sit around the table and paint their ornaments and laugh and chit chat. And we watched like Elf silently, which was funny because we were talking. And that was the highlight of the party, but I had that planned in mind. It wasn't kind of just like, everyone just do what you want. It was like, no, we're going to have a little bit more structure to it where the highlight of the night is going to be getting cozy around the fire, sitting together, talking, laughing, and making these ornaments. And I was successful with that, I believe. The other thing that they said, as I mentioned earlier, was having the purpose and not straying from your purpose. So if your purpose is to have as many people as possible Instagram posting about your party, have it be the most aesthetic part, everything be in the white and gold or the purple and pinks, and have everyone, black tie, dressed to the nines. That may be the purpose of your party, and that's perfectly fine. Just know that that's the purpose. And when you're trying to decide if you want paper plates or not, just know that you probably shouldn't because you want your plates to be perfectly Instagrammable and ready to go. So that just helps you determine the yeses and the nos when you're deciding on what to spend your money on, or you're deciding if you should do something or not. And the other thing I would say, the planning aspect, it really doesn't have to be as complicated as some people make it. But like I said, I planned the menu ahead of time. I knew what I needed to get. I didn't overspend. I just got the ingredients that I needed for the things that I did purchase too much food. You're always going to have people that say no day of. We had people that said no the morning of, the night before, or people that just didn't show up and didn't answer either way. And that's just something that happens when you're inviting, 15, 20 people to your house. I do think that we hit a sweet spot with the number of people that were able to come to the cookie party. And for my family holiday party, we're going to have less people than we had last year. And we'll see, because last year inside of our house, we had like 35 people. And this year, I think it'll be close to half of that. So we'll see which one went a little bit better. I think that it's going to be just completely different. So it's going to be hard to tell. And we're going to miss all the people that weren't able to be there. But luckily, we had our wedding this year and we were able to celebrate with pretty much our entire families then as well. So getting a lot of family time in this holiday season. A couple other things that I want to say about the holiday times. These are not good times for everybody. And that's an awkward thing to bring up, but it's important to keep in the back of your mind. So I have an example of this, and I'm just going to put my grandmother on blast. I love her so much, but I'm just going to use her as an example because she's the perfect example of this. I called her, and, it was right in between Thanksgiving, like right after Thanksgiving, or maybe like the week of Thanksgiving. And we just had our wedding in October. So, it wasn't too far away, and we had just gotten the pictures back, and she posted some of the pictures, and I am her granddaughter. And she was calling my husband her son-in-law. She was like, my granddaughter and my son. And I was like, what? I was like, no, he's my husband. So he would be your grandson-in-law, but you don't even have to say that. You can just say our names. And I just thought of it as such like a lighthearted, funny thing. But I was like, why are you saying your great granddaughter, who would be my daughter, your granddaughter, and your son? Like, that is not who we are to you. Like, it was just funny to me. And she got very upset, and I was taken aback. I was like, I was just joking, just lighthearted. I just wanted to let you know that you were posting it on Facebook and calling him your son, and me, your granddaughter, which just doesn't really make sense. It sounds like I'm dating my dad. Like, that's just kind of weird. Or, my uncle or whatever. So I was like, I didn't realize that it was going to upset you. After talking to her a little bit more, you realize she has lost her brother in her younger years. I think she was in her 30s when her brother passed away. The last 2 years, she lost her mom and her sister 5 weeks apart. And her husband is not doing well right now. And it's the holiday season. And this is the time for her to be thinking about her family. That great grandmother that I mentioned that would always have the parties and every Sunday would have dinner at her house and stuff. That was her mom. And she's not here anymore. And her husband has been sick for over a year. And though maybe he's physically here, he's not the same husband that he was 2 Christmases ago before he was diagnosed and is sick. So things like that take such a toll on people. And it's so hard for people to, one, be able to pinpoint it in themselves, to be able to say, I'm upset because my mom's not here. And I'm taking it out, in all of these other ways. It's also hard for them to, to take away from someone else's excitement. Like, I'm excited that I'm hosting this party and I have all these ideas and all these crafts. And I'm so excited. And in her head, she's also probably very excited to attend them, but she's also probably thinking, is this going to be my husband's last Christmas? Is all of my immediate family going to be gone after that? Like, and you hate to think about things in that morbid of a light, but it is something that's very important that I don't think that a lot of people talk about around the holidays. People want to talk about their wish list, and they want to talk about, the things that, the top 5 things that you should get for every cool girl. But you also don't think about the people that have lost significant people in their lives and how this could be one of the most difficult times of year, because it is a time, they say that after a child spends their 18 years in the home, there's only a finite amount of time that you're going to spend with them. And the holidays is one of those times. So it's probably the pinnacle of time that you spend with your parents throughout your life. Like, a lot of people make the holidays a time that they go back and spend with their parents and their grandparents. And so when those people aren't here anymore, it just brings it up even more. Not to mention the fact that my great grandfather passed away on Christmas morning, which has really changed the holidays for all of us, which was a big reason why I kind of took it upon myself to be the person that was hosting the holidays. My grandfather was one of the most important people, and my great grandfather and my grandfather. But my great grandfather was one of the most influential and important people in my life. I connected with him on a very deep way. We talked a lot. We spent a lot of time together. And him passing on Christmas was very, very hard on our family. But it also, to me, I want to celebrate. I feel like he's celebrating. I do believe that I know where he is and that he would be happy with us celebrating him on that day. And so that's what I chose to do. And I invite all of my family to, partake in that with me. But it might not be easy for everybody. He was my grandpa. I didn't spend nearly as much time as his only daughter did, which is my grandma, who I love, who's been on the podcast before as well. So that's just something that I wanted to touch on. It is really hard. You feel like you're always dodging people's sensitivities on every topic. But when it comes to the holidays, just be understanding, because even though somebody can be excited about something doesn't mean that they don't have this underlying pain that they might not even be able to recognize. It took her days before she called back and she said, I'm just unpacking these Christmas decorations that were my mom's and some of them were my sister's. And it's just shocks me still that they're not here. I cannot imagine a world that my parents and grandparents are not in. I really can't. So I can't imagine unboxing Christmas decorations that have such close tethers and ties to them and me not be able to call them about it or ask them about a recipe that they made at the holidays. It's just very, very difficult. So I just wanted to bring that up because I have a lot of friends, older and younger, who have lost significant people in their lives in the past year or two. And I wanted to just say to please be sensitive of that. Quick palate cleanser after that slightly deeper and more serious topic is what I want for the holiday. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, I feel like the last big stretch. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is party gift cycles. I talked about this on TikTok, and this is what I did for my cookie exchange party as well. The white elephant and Secret Santa gifts, I hate them. And I know that hate is a very strong word. I hate them. I listened to a TikTok. I could say I read an article, but I'm not going to lie. I listened to a TikTok earlier, and it's this therapist guy that I follow that is very interesting. I can't think of his name right now. I've just listen to them every now and then, but they kind of act out scenarios to show people how their behavior, even though it is planted with good intention, can be overwhelming for other people, right? So he was saying over gifting, this over gifting and over consuming for a gift giver can feel, you get this rush, but for the gift receiver, it can be very overwhelming and unwanted, and your boundary was broken. So if someone says, I don't want to receive any gifts this year, like I mentioned earlier, financial insecurity is something that people are experiencing. I would prefer to be Venmo'd so that I can take my daughter on a trip. If everybody wants to Venmo me $10, $50, $500, I mean, you won't Venmo it, I'm gonna take it. But you get my point. Like, I don't want any physical gifts. If you're going to gift me anything, I would rather have cash. That is kind of a boundary that someone's setting. And if you refuse to fit into that mold or fit into that boundary, it's frustrating. So the example that the guy gave was someone said, oh, can I have a glass of water? And you're like, okay, you hand them a glass of water. Then you say, oh, here's a water bottle. Oh, and here is some juice. Here's a protein shake. Here's a chocolate milk. Here's a couple other liquids, because I know you said you liked liquids. Oh, wait, I don't have room for this. I don't want all of these extra things. Okay, I get it. Like, giving a gift for someone can feel like a nice thing to do, but if they don't have space for it, they don't want to spend their money on that, they need other things, just getting them something just to get it actually puts more stress on them. Not to mention, a lot of times when people receive a gift, they feel like they also have to then purchase a gift. And if financial insecurity was something that they were worried about, now having to go out and purchase another gift for you when they didn't want to get a gift from you in the first place is a stressor. So the white elephant gifts are very stressful for me. Trying to pick a gift that 5, 10, 15, 20 people may enjoy and stay within a certain budget. And it's going to be a trash gift pretty much. We did the white elephant at my work Christmas party. It was fine. We do it every single year. Our cap is like $25, but it's like $25 could be well spent in so many other ways. Just give everybody a $25 gift card and call it a day. I think everyone would have appreciated that just as much, if not more, because then you can go and get whatever you want, like a $25 Visa gift card. I think that would be amazing. But yeah, having to spend that money for people that are working and maybe have goals that are outside of that. Like I said, I'm redoing my house, and getting a $25 popcorn maker isn't really going to be as helpful as it would have been to use that $25 towards a paint sample. You know what I mean? So the white elephant gifts, I hope, are ending this year. I want to put that into the universe. My predictions, I hope that they are going out the door. The next thing that I hope is going out the door is the dirty Santa, which is kind of the same thing. Like you steal the gift or whatever, but they're all kind of useless gifts. I hope that they are going out the door. What we did instead, and I know a lot of other people do this as well, is instead of doing a gift like that, we adopted a child from the angel tree. We put their wish list on our invitation and said, if you are comfortable, please, provide a gift to this child from their wish list. We had an Amazon link. I went ahead on their wish list and pinned a bunch of stuff. I went ahead and picked a child that was the same age as my child so that I could kind of guess the things that they would be into outside of the list, because we invited more people than the items that were on the list. But clothes, shoes, all of those items are always on the list as well. And the amount of satisfaction that I experience from giving to someone that's less fortunate and being able to provide something for somebody who needs it and give someone a holiday season, a child's, we're all adults doing the white elephant usually. So being able to provide a gift for a child that they otherwise would not have been able to have, giving them a coat for the holidays, giving them a nice pair of long jeans, a new pair of shoes, such a fulfilling experience. Money well spent. You're still going to spend around $20, maybe $10, maybe even less. Some people went in and got them a nice scooter. I think they each might have spent $10 or $15. What an amazing way to put that money if you're comfortable spending it. If not, don't add a gift element to a party. In my opinion. And I told people, I said, please do what you're comfortable. And if you're not comfortable giving this child a gift, don't, because I knew that my husband and I were comfortable picking up whatever gifts that were lacking from the list, especially the clothing. But I knew that we had set some money aside and we were comfortable doing that. We may not be able to do that every year. That was just something that we were able to financially do this year. And usually the cap for not the cap, but usually they say the price range is around $75 for an angel. So getting $75 worth of a gift, if you're inviting 7 people and everybody is going to give $10, there you go. And we had more than that. And even people that weren't able to make the party still donated towards our angels' gifts, which to me is just a little bit more meaningful and a little bit more responsible of a way to spend that money if you're going to spend it. And you don't have to spend it. You don't have to add a gift element into everything. Like I said, make a crafty Christmas where I went to Michael's and they had buy one, get one free, but it was crazy when I rung up the item. It was like the more items I purchased, the original item got like exponentially cheaper somehow. So by getting, like, if I bought one and got another one, it would have been $1. But then by the 7th one, it was only like 6 cents. It was crazy. It was crazy. So I was able to get these ornaments and this paint, and it was so much fun. And I was able to give them an experience. They had a custom ornament that they made themselves, yada, yada, yada. So yes, that is my final 2 cents. I have talked so much in this podcast. You guys know pretty much everything about me at this point, and I'm going to go ahead and end it here. But one more thing that I want to say before I go, because your girl likes to talk. I have been playing this Christmas playlist and it is on Spotify. And I wonder if I can pull it up. It's like, don't play another Christmas album. Let me type it in while I'm here. Not Spotify Wrapped because I did not get a Spotify Wrapped this year. I wasn't cool enough. Don't bring it up. Probably would have said something crazy. What I'm listening to right now is Paramore. Okay, it is Don't Play Christmas Songs by Derek Gee. It is one of my favorite albums and playlists to play during the Christmas parties and holiday time. Again, Don't Play Christmas Songs by Derek, Derrick, Gee. Love this album. It's oldies. It's like feel good. It gives you that old time, like original Sinatra Christmas sounding without it being have yourself a merry little Christmas. It's all different songs. They're not quote unquote Christmas songs, but they have that same energy and that nostalgic Christmas feeling, which I love, love, love. They just give you the warm and fuzzies without it being the same songs that you hear every single time you walk into a department or a grocery store the months of October to January. So highly recommend playing that playlist. That's something that I played at my last party, and it's a different, not everybody's into that taste, but for an hour-long party, you'll be fine. Yeah, but that is all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next week. I'm not going to disclose what the episode will be about, but you'll have to wait and find out. Oh, Bachelor update. Our Bachelor had a busy 2 weeks, so he has not been able to go on his second date just yet, but we do have our second date candidate picked out. She is lively. She is fun. She is beautiful. She's a model. We love, love, love her. This will be a very interesting date because this person is specifically selected because they have a lot of opposition. Yeah, you're going to have to listen in to hear how the date goes. But, Andrew, our Bachelor, was like, I want to take them to a steakhouse. She's a vegetarian. Again, he's a hunter. She's a vegetarian. I mean, but they know these things about each other. So we're going to see if they're able to kind of navigate through this date and find common ground. I already have a lot of bells ringing in my head of things that they would absolutely adore about each other. But if you'll remember back to the original episode, I did talk about trying to, Stuart and I rearranging our wedding seating chart to have them sit closer together. So they've brushed paths before, if that gives you a clue of who it might be. Anyways, stay tuned for our next Bachelor update. So hopefully they'll be going on the date either this weekend or next weekend. I can't remember. But I'll double check, let you guys know. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.